Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Natalie, and today I'm actually not going to be talking about my story in particular. It's going to be more about stereotypes that a lot of people have about autism. I mean, I could make it about my story, but I thought this was such an important topic that I needed to do more facts than just sharing a story. Although I think it's very important. It's vital to people to understand this. So that's what I'm doing today. Anyway, so first off, a lot of people think of nonverbal when they think about autism, but it's a whole spectrum. There's just not nonverbal. There's high functioning, there's different levels of autism, there's severe autism. You don't really know. It's a lot of different things. So do not assume that an autistic person is nonverbal just because they say they're autistic. It could be a lot of different things. So every autistic person is different. So one thing that could apply and help one autistic person may not help and apply to another autistic person. That sort of thing. So be careful to not judge one person and then say, oh, that's applies to all autistic people. Well, maybe, but not necessarily. You need to be careful when you do things like that. Also, although autistic people share characteristics, like I said, it varies from person to person. And another big point that really bothers me is that some people think that vaccines cause autism. It doesn't really make sense to me because a lot of people have characteristics of autism before they even get vaccinated at 5 years old. Like a lot of autistic people, especially nonverbal, who can't talk at 2 or something, they haven't gotten vaccines yet. They are naturally autistic. Now, they don't know the exact cause of autism. It could be genetic. It could be a whole lot of mutation. It could be a whole lot of different things. We don't really know. But we should not assume it's vaccines, so we should avoid giving our child a vaccine in case they're autistic. That's just silly. Anyway, so another thing is, for instance, my parents don't have autism, but I do. That's kind of an interesting point because of autism, you would think that my parents would have it too if it is in fact genetic, but they don't. So we just don't really know why I have autism, or epilepsy for that matter, like I said in a previous video. So remember to help each autistic person based on the individual needs. I can't drive that point home more. So, like I said, their needs should be more important than what you believe. I've been driving that point home a lot. I'm really trying to drive home that each autistic person needs something different, and if they do need something similar, that's great, then you can use it for multiple autistic people, but don't assume that. So another big stereotype is because we know more about boys with autism than girls with high functioning autism especially, but girls have it too. I hate that girls are overlooked and underdiagnosed because we just know more about it, and that's it. Besides, boys are more aggressive and girls are more emotional, or they can hide their emotions. And there's just one example of why girls are underdiagnosed. They don't display the same traits as autistic boys, So like a girl that's upset, maybe crying in class, that's autistic, like I did in 5th grade, and a boy who's autistic may be kicking and screaming because his sense has a sensory overload. I would cry probably. So that's just one example of being sensory overloaded. That's just another example of the way boys vary from girls. So also, from what I read in this book called Girls with Autism, and it said that girls don't outgrow things as fast as neurotypical girls. Like I said in a previous video, I've never outgrown stuffed animals. Like a neurotypical girl probably has outgrown stuffed animals at this point. I mean, I am 22, but it doesn't matter because it works for me. And I don't really, like I said before, I don't care what people think. And it doesn't matter if everyone around you has outgrown something. If you see an autistic character on TV, It's usually a boy. I've seen the one show that has a high functioning autistic girl, and that's Girl Meets World. Her name is Smackle. She's like one of my favorite characters. I think she's now my favorite character because I find her relatable. Because I think it does a great job. The show does portraying autism. The actress does a good job, and that really surprises me about Disney. I usually don't agree with Disney on a lot of things, but that's pretty cool. Like their post about autism on Autism Awareness Day, they posted something really accurate and cool. It was like, whoa. Like I usually don't expect something like that cool from Disney. So anyway, in the show, they show autistic circle, but they show social issues, but Smackle could also be in a relationship, even though she doesn't understand her feelings towards Parker, her boyfriend. It also shows her special interest, which is science. It's a common thing for a lot of autistic people, which I'll probably go into more in a future video. Another stereotype is that autistic people have one interest or can only get one kind of job. Like there are lots of jobs available for people with autism. Like I'm sure that a lot of autistic are into computers and video games. I am not. I'm more into TV, or I love science. Well, I just want to do this YouTube channel, that sort of thing. And I love writing. But another autistic person may not love writing, so don't think they only have one interest. My imagination usually gets the better of me sometimes. So, that's a problem for me. It may not be a problem for another autistic person. They may be very literal and reality based. On the other hand, my imagination is very vivid. Especially my dreams. They don't really make sense. They're based off of TV shows, or the ones I base on reality also don't make any sense. So anyway, some people also think that autism is overdiagnosed. Well, it's not. In fact, like I said, girls are also often underdiagnosed. And just because you see an autistic person doesn't mean, and a lot of autistic people doesn't mean that they aren't autistic. It's a variety of spectrums. And that's important to remember. So also, people with autism have a variety of interests and gifts. That's very important to remember. Now, a lot of the stereotype is that autistic people are antisocial. Although people with autism prefer to play by themselves sometimes, that doesn't mean they don't want friends. Like, in fact, I would play by myself a lot when I was growing up, but that doesn't mean I didn't want friends. I just didn't know how to interact with others. And that's what is so important. I needed a friend to reach out to me and show me how to interact well with others. And for a long time, I didn't have that. I just felt so left out and lonely because I didn't know how to play well with others, that sort of thing. So, and another thing is, sometimes, I may have heard this before, sometimes people think you shouldn't try to help them, or they can't help it because they are born with it, so there's no point in helping them because they'll never be free from autism. Well, that's not true. Just because they're not free from autism doesn't mean they can't improve. Like, I'm never going to be done with autism, but I've improved, I've grown a lot, I've learned a lot of things, I see things differently. I went to college. There's a lot of things that I've accomplished because I had help. So all autistic people need help in a certain way, and they don't know how to do some things that seem natural to us, or they know how to do things that people don't understand how to do. It's very interesting how all that works. Like an autistic person could be very good at computers but not understand social interactions, where a neurotypical person may be really good at social interaction but they don't know anything about computers. Like, that's an example of that. Now, it is important to have an accurate understanding of autism because that will allow you to help autistic people more. My opinion is that we shouldn't judge autistic people by one example. And above all, don't limit your understanding by believing stereotypes. Stereotypes can be helpful for some instances, but they can also be very dangerous in viewing people with autism like me because people just don't really know how to help if you just believe all these stereotypes about autism. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, do that jazz, and hopefully I will see you next time. I know this is my second video this week, but it seemed important and I was ready to post. So anyway, bye.